Okay, we're going to make some another batch of lead hypophosphite. I've got my 21.1 grams to 21.5 grams of sodium hypophosphite and my 33.1 grams of lead nitrate. Instead of using 150 milliliters, I have this back down to 100. I noticed in the new updated video that Mark Wilson put on, he was able, with Mr. Marshall, it was a nice thick paste almost, but I have extra distilled water here and here to add if needed, and I'm going to see if I can get the exact same results and consistency to what I saw in the updated video. Alright, I have this heated to 75°C, and it looks like it's holding right there pretty good. We're going to start adding the salt in a little bit. I am still using the 50 milliliters for the lead nitrate side, the small beaker. Turn the stir action up on this one a little bit more. This little thing holds its temperature really nice there. It hasn't increased any since I've started. So it's got a pretty good set point. Got a little more temperature to go on the lead before it hits the 75, so we'll just put the top back on and wait. This looks like it has dissolved real nicely. Adding that has actually brought me up to about 120 milliliters of distilled water, and doing well here, it looks like. Take a little bit out. That's closer to 50 there. I think when I added my stir bar, it raised it up a little bit. So we are back at about right at just slightly over 50, maybe 55 milliliters. Right at about 120, 125 milliliters here in the large beaker. The salt appears to have dissolved really nicely. It is still staying at the nice set point at approximately 77 degrees C. I'm going to cut that back a little bit. This one has reached 60. I want it a little bit hotter. Let me turn my stir down just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and start adding the lead nitrate. It's at about 68 degrees, so I think we're good. Everything was crushed up pretty good ahead of time. Yeah, the salt looks really nice and dissolved in there. Lead has a little trace amounts on the bottom, but raise the temperature a little bit, it'll dissolve. Turn my stir action up a little. The lead is nearly dissolved. There's still some particulates floating around in there. This appears, the salt appears to, the sodium appears to have dissolved quite nicely. We're going to go ahead and turn the heat back down, and I think it was down to 30. Turn my stir action up a little bit to anticipate some of that heat. And as you can see, I keep things separate here. A stir bar, my little spoon for my sodium, stir bar for the sodium, a dropper for the sodium. Same thing over here. A spoon for the lead, dropper for the lead, and a stir bar for the lead. I keep it in these flasks or these beakers so that I can just keep things separated and organized a little better. That's all. No other reason than that. I mean, it probably wouldn't matter just to lay them on the desk, but that's not me. All right, my temperature is dropping nicely on this. We're down to about 68. My temperature has rose on this one. Let me back that off. Let's take a look. Turn the stir action down. Let it go a little bit more. Alright. Doesn't appear to be any evaporation due to the heat. We're still at about 120 or so. 120, 122. We're about the same level on this. The heat is steadily going down. It is completely off. It's only stirring now. Okay, it's looking pretty good. It's a little cloudy. I'm thinking that's just well, how it's supposed to look. We're getting close over here. I just put a bottle in my rinse bottle of ice water in the freezer to get it good and cold. I have my flask vacuum set up with filter already in and ready to go, and we're almost ready to start transferring there once this cools off a little bit. I believe it was, let me refer back to the paper here. I think it was down to 30 degrees or 30 Celsius or something. Is that right? Oh, I think that was on that tetrazine. I've taken in so much information from you guys in the past month. There, it's now it's being repetitive in my part, being repetitive to I've got everything to memory, but it's all jumbled up there between making this, making the, I think it's tetrazine, and of course mixing the compounds. I have everything memorized on the amount, pretty much on the amounts and all, but I get confused, and now it's just a matter of being repetitive, and then it will start separating itself out, and I'll be able to categorize it. Okay, this is the steps I do for this. This is the steps I do for that one, and it's just the way I've always worked and all. Even working on the turbines and all, it's the same thing there. Every machine I go to is different and all, but it's all just nuts and bolts and gaskets. All right. I believe we're down to about 50 here, and we're up good enough here. I'm going to turn the heat off on this. It appears that has dissolved nicely. Let's just take a look at it. still a few little particulates in there falling back. Let's let it go, keep heating up and dissolve it all. It doesn't appear that we're losing much in evaporation. I'm still really close to the same. Same here. So there has been some loss, obviously, from the steam rising up. You do have some evaporation. So I do my best to keep my heat to a minimum. That's looking nicely now. It's nice and clear. It's at 80°C. We're going to turn the heat off and let it cool a little bit. This one is cooling down nicely, but it's still a little warm. This one, I'm going to pause the video for a few minutes while this cools down. Doing a caliber changeover on my press. I took my 223 head and dies off and put my 9mm back on so that I can start loading some more 9s. And got a new addition to the family here. Got this primer loader, tube loader thing there from Dylan. I'm gonna tell you what, it beats that Primer Pro hands down, no questions asked. But I have that for a backup. Might see if I might sell it or something, I don't know. But all I gotta do is do my powder adjustment and some minor adjustment on a couple of these dies here, on my sizer over here, and get my powder alarm and my bullet dropper. Make sure everything's just adjusted correctly, and I'll be ready to go on that here in a few days if I want to. And the temperature is about 55 degrees. I think that's good enough. We're going to start adding a few drops and see what happens. There's still some in there. I need to let it go some more. I need to turn the heat back on, I guess. It just doesn't want it to dissolve. Let's get the heat on up. We'll just keep this one stirring, let it keep cooling. I don't have a problem with that. Just take a little bit longer. Alright, I'll pause the video again and I'll turn it back on once the lead nitrate has completely dissolved. There was still some left in the bottom once I turned the heat off. There was still some in the mixture, so let's wait and let me dissolve it all. Alright, I'm back. Before I get started, it's ready to go. I found that making my little cookie disc with the acetone can make a nice disc there with very little bad spots in it on the bottom and all. Nice top. I like to take and put about an 1/8 inch of acetone on the bottom, put my powder over the top, and then saturate the top and all. And I found that I get a little better because it immediately starts bonding, so that seemed to work good for me and all. I just got it for backup. That's hard as a rock now. Alright. The heat is off on everything. We're going to turn the stir action down a little bit. I'll turn this one off. Oh yeah, very nice. I did add about 10 milliliters of water to the small beaker. That appeared to solve my issue on it not dissolving good. I guess I just had the distilled water so saturated that it just needed that little extra. Oh yeah, really nice, really nice. Oh yeah, I hope y'all can see this. Yeah, this is really nice. In fact, let me stop dropping for just a minute. Let me get the phone. Let's let y'all look inside there. Yeah, it's getting a real nice crust on the top. See that crust forming? Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. All right, let me put the phone back in my little holder. Love this little holder. Just got it yesterday from Amazon, just so that I can do this and and let people see how I do it, and give me advice to make sure that I don't make a mistake, to make sure that I do it right. Because these powders, they can get expensive. Anybody doing it knows that. Oh, that is nice. Turn the stir action up just a little bit. Oh, no, not too much. That's just right. It's getting thick. That is really nice. Wow. And I'm just kind of keeping the drops going, moving around. This is the way I do it naturally anyway. After watching the video that Mark had re-upped and all, I saw, he even mentioned that. And I did that naturally there, even from the very start. So apparently it's a little common sense there, I guess. I kind of picked up on it when I saw Mr. Marshall doing it to start with. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is looking beautiful, I think. You can't even tell the stir bar's stirring hardly, it's so thick now. But I know it's stirring in there, so. I'll turn the stir action up a little bit more. There we go. We got a little vortex coming back. Almost done. Alright, that's it for that. Set that in there. I'm going to turn that beaker over. Oh yeah. Yeah, that thing is just saturated with it. Now I gotta leave that in there. Let me go get my. I'm gonna pause it again. I'm gonna go get the my bowl with the ice and the water and my rinse bottle. Okay. Ice water. This is cooled down. It's only about 40. Now we'll chill this down to 5 degrees C or 5 Celsius and move from there. You stick in that ice, that temp starts going down. I've noticed the last, I don't know, 10, 15 degrees, it's really rough, really hard to get down that far. I'm going to pause it again. Okay, it's cooled down to 5 degrees Celsius. First thing I'm going to do is rinse my thermometer off. Secure it. I'm going to rinse my stir rod off. Well, I ain't worried about my stir rod. We will now commence
What mysterious instinct inspired Nora to risk his life for a total stranger? And how did he even know that Lisa was drugged? Lisa herself has no answers, but she will always be